In the world of gaming, there once was a legendary being, PlayStation 2, PS2, Slim, born by uber-conglomerate giant Sony in the early years of this century. PlayStation 2 Slim, the heir to the original throne. There was more at play here than just a console, for the PS2 Slim represented nothing less than an upheaval in gaming. Sleeker, lighter, and faster, it packed all that finely honed power into around half the space of its predecessor. So began our tale. In fact, this started in, having gone from the shadows of niche communities to the mainstream limelight, we were in a time where televisions were big and round with wired controllers. Sony, witnessing the profound intensity with which fans adored its predecessor in PS2, had bathed a monster from another country to make her an even more fairy tale-like princess. The Fat Lady acquainted itself. The Fat Lady introduced themselves was truly remarkable engineering tempered by good taste and sense of proportion. Those big gray boxes were things of the past. This new spawn was slender, with a black magical appearance to it and almost as thin as a hardcover book. It was lighter than an ancient spellbook, so gamers could carry their magic worlds with them anywhere. Its internal structure was an abbreviated web of progress, having the same strong capabilities as its predecessor, but in a much more confined space. The pulse quickened inside this polished little box. Another monster had been born. It played every PS2 game, from the blood-soaked action of God of War to the opulent pageantry and frenetic battle scenes in Final Fantasy X. It maintained a connection back to days past, allowing returning spirits to return their old favorites for another spin or two. One of the biggest improvements was to add an Ethernet port in for playing online. Players could now log on together, learn from each other and fulfill quests or face off against one another. This was the beginning of a connected, global gaming community. The PS2 Slim was more than a console. It became your opening to other worlds, the safe harbor for stories and memories of all kinds, an unwitting gateway that brought friends and families together under one roof. Its library with over 10,000 titles offered something for everyone's fantasy or challenge and every old man's dreams. Over the years, however, new technologies came forth and gaming landscapes changed. But the PS2 Slim is still treasured, a piece of gaming history that reminds us of the glory days. It's remembered not just for its games or its sleek design, but for the moments it created, the late-night battles, the merriment among comrades, huge stories placing you center stage and victories and defeats of all manner of heroes and villains. Today the PS2 Slim is still kept in memory and displayed on collections by enthusiasts. It is a living monument to the history of gaming, from clunky machines in days gone by through today's thin controllers. Its essence rings out in all of the consoles that came afterwards, continuously spurring on invention and creating a generation united once again through their desire to play games. So the PS2 Slim lives on, a timeless classic in one never-ending story of video